Welcome behind the scenes at the DEA Museum. I'm Casey, the museum's historian.
And I'm Emma, the museum technician.
And we're here in the collections facility to introduce this month's featured artifact, a set of badge molds from the early 20th century.
Every month, we'll take you into the collection and share stories about our most exciting objects. These molds were used by the Treasury Department to produce badges for early federal narcotic agents.
Law enforcement officers have identified themselves with badges for centuries. Their designs vary widely and often change as departments or agencies grow, shrink, or are replaced. This is especially true of federal drug law enforcement badges. While DEA was established in 1973, there were several other agencies and divisions decades before that enforced federal drug laws, and agents working for those organizations carried many different badges.
In 1914, Congress passed the first law in the United States to regulate whole classes of drugs. It was called the Harrison Narcotics Act, and it required certain kinds of drug manufacturers, sellers, and distributors to register with the Bureau of Internal Revenue. To keep track of registrations and investigate those who failed to comply, the U.S. Treasury Department created the Miscellaneous Division under the Bureau, which included 162 federal narcotic agents.
At first, the agents designed their own badges. Some mimicked the style of military credentials. Others looked like sheriff's badges from the Wild West. Agents used the badges to represent their authority in public, but courts across the country debated what exactly the Miscellaneous Division could do under the new narcotics law and the Constitution.
Ultimately, prohibition settled the debate. In 1919, states ratified the 18th Amendment, which prohibited the manufacture, sale, and transportation of alcoholic beverages. Months later, Congress passed the Volstead Act, which created a prohibition unit under the Treasury Department to enforce the law. The unit included a narcotics division dedicated to enforcing the Harrison Narcotics Act.
As the division's workload increased and prohibition was eventually repealed, Congress created a new federal drug law enforcement agency, the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, or FBN. The Treasury Department produced the badges carried by FBN agents, which made them more uniform and professional.
To make a badge, the Treasury used steel molds, like these, to shape thin pieces of metal. Metal was placed between two halves of the mold and pressed together, leaving a raised design. This specific mold made some of the earliest FBN badges, and it features a bald eagle with the abbreviation US for United States.
Today, DEA special agents still carry badges with golden eagles proudly representing the United States government. But these badges no longer say Treasury Department. DEA now operates under the Department of Justice. In the 1960s, President Lyndon Johnson oversaw the FBN's transformation into a new federal agency, the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs, or BNDD. The BNDD was moved under the Justice Department to better serve Americans and enforce changing drug laws. By 1973, 2 more offices and a presidential team were created to support drug law enforcement, but things were getting too complicated. President Richard Nixon reorganized the bodies into one federal agency, the Drug Enforcement Administration.
This mold set is only one of over 45,000 artifacts, photographs, videos, and documents in the DEA Museum's collection. Each illuminates important moments in the history of DEA, federal drug law enforcement, and drug use in American culture.
To learn more about DEA's work and other fascinating stories from the collection, follow the museum on Facebook, go to deamuseum.org, or visit the museum in person. Thanks for joining us.